So another question we get asked super often is, how do we get so many features with industry level artists? And there is a ton of ways. So the first time we ever worked with someone bigger than us where we had to purchase a feature was in 2016. We saw an artist from Buffalo, New York named Bill Saber on an article by Pigeons and Planes called Rappers That Make Your Ears Bleed, which helped his trajectory go up. Pigeons and Planes ended up posting a lot of his music videos later on and helping him get bigger. And honestly, I believe it was as simple as finding his Facebook page and messaging him and asking him what his price is and telling him what our budget is. That is going to be 99% of getting a feature from a bigger artist. It is, how do you approach them, either in the email, in a message on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Most of them are going to be willing to work within whatever your budget is and whatever you have to bring to the table. The second time we got a feature from a big artist, other than Bill Saber, because we did work with him a few times after building a relationship with him, was probably Mike Jones. And we had done a show with Mike Jones in Portland in 2018 or so. So during the pandemic, when a lot of these industry artists, they weren't making as much money from shows, so their prices for features went down. They were cutting deals essentially. So here's an example of how things can go different other than just it's $250 or whatever. Cool, we have that. With Mike Jones, he said $7,000 was the ticket. So we responded with $3,000 was our budget. And that repeated over and over again. It went from $6,000 is what we can do. $3,000 is our budget. $5,000 is what we can do. And the worst they can do is say no. The worst thing that can happen from an artist you're trying to get a feature from is that they say no, that they're not willing to do that, or they don't respond. There is no negative consequence to saying I can't afford that, or are you sure you can't do this? And eventually we got to a point with Mike Jones where he came down to where we were at. He just said that the video wouldn't come with it. We would have to pay separately for that, which is totally fine. I don't think we had intentions of making a video for that song. We paid him. We forwarded him the $3,000, and within 12 hours, he had sent the vocals back. A lot of the times working with older artists, that is going to be the way it goes. If you purchase a feature from an older artist, they are most likely going to be willing to work with you. As they're just not getting the shows that they used to, or the money from streaming. It was harder for them to convert over there. They're going to be willing to work with you as long as you're respectful and professional. So Mike Jones was that next step for us. It was super easy. They boom, boom, boom. Second you send the money, they're getting to work on it. The next person we went to was not so fucking easy. We had met Keith Murray. You probably know, or you know of, the most beautifulest thing in the world. You can look up Keith Murray. He's a kind of an OG over there. Works a lot with a lot of legendary artists, and he himself is one at times. Keith Murray was a bit more difficult, and honestly, we should have known that going in. Working with him in person when we were doing the events we were doing together was a bit intense, and it did take us over a year to get that feature. Now, if you do not send a contract or anything like that, yes, the messages, there is verbal contract, there is all of that, but it's going to be pretty hard for you to press somebody if they're not returning your feature unless you also made them sign a contract. Getting a contract is super important for a lot of these things, especially when you're paying such a huge chunk of money, and for artists, that is a huge chunk of money a lot of the time. The cards aren't in your hands. You know what I mean? You do not have the upper hand once you've given someone the money and they do not want to return it to you, or are too busy, or don't care enough. So it took us about a year and a half to get the Keith Murray feature, and we didn't think we were going to get it. We didn't think it was ever going to come. And when it did come, all of the vocals were layered on top of itself because he didn't know how to export, or his engineer didn't know how to export it. So we had to go through and move, our engineer did, every single line to where it went to in the song, and it was a nightmare. That can happen. You didn't sign a contract, nothing said you had to send it over easily, nothing said you had to send it over timely. There was just a verbal contract that you would get it done. So that is a risk you're running by doing something like this, especially without managers, without accountants, without label people to help you out as independent artists. That's something we've run into more than once. After that one, Spice One was the next one we did. Again, the older generation of artists just know how to do this professionally, minus our experience with Keith Murray. Spice One was in Portland, where we're located, and he was doing something with cryptocurrency, I believe, with a friend of ours, somebody in our group, and we got the call saying if we could get some money together, that we could could potentially do a song and video with him that day, which we did. And he met us at the studio. He stayed for as long as it took him to finish his part on the song. He stayed after to shoot the video with us. He was just super kind, super professional. He got the work done quickly. You can see the music video and song we have with him somewhere else on our channel. And there's about a 40-minute documentary of our time in the studio with him after getting that money together. So you should go check that out. After Spice One, Swiggle Mandela, one of our older brothers, and JC as well, two of the members of La Familia who joined the Fish as we got closer to them. They ended up doing a feature with Westside Boogie. That was super expensive. Westside Boogie's on Shady Records, signed to Eminem, and just a really talented artist. He had just released his own album. A lot of us were fans of him, so we kind of rallied behind Swiggle and JC to get that song out. And then later on, when they wanted to pursue the video, it again is just a discussion. They said, how much would it be if we came to LA? How much would it be for you to come out here? A lot of the times they're willing to work within your means as long as you're willing to work around them and make it easier for them. You have less money, you're probably going to have to go to them. You're not going to get them to fly out here or travel out here. It's going to be way more expensive. So we've done this a lot of times. We've done it with smaller artists like Mark Battles and Bill Saber. We've done it with bigger current level, industry artists like Westside Boogie and even Jim Jones. And we've done it with a lot of artists that are in the last generation, to pay homage and respect to hip hop, and also work with people who are clearly so talented and have been doing it for such a long time. At the end of the day, it is as simple as reaching out and making sure you have the money ready. A good way to get ignored by an artist in the future is by hitting them up, telling them that you're ready to do it, and then leaving them on red or not opening up their message once they give you the price. Make sure you have a budget together, even if it isn't what they ask for. If someone says, hey, I charge 1,000 and you saved up 700, say I have 700 I can send you today. They might say that's fine. They might say, okay, I'll take that, and then you send me the other 300 before I work on it. But it is seriously and 100% in your opening lines. How did you communicate to them? How did you message them? How did you talk to them? What did you come with for your offer? And how quickly did you say you could get them the money? You have to imagine that there's probably at least, depending on who you're talking to, 100 other people messaging that same artist. If you thought you wanted to message them for a feature, there's somebody else that did as well. So a lot of those people are annoying. A lot of those people are leaving them on red once the price is given. A lot of them are digging them around saying, I'll send it tomorrow, and never going to give them the money. It is 100% a matter of how quickly, professionally, and positively you can interact with these people. They are just humans, and it can be a huge help to your career. We have over 500,000 streams with Bill Saber alone. Our Keith Murray song is still one of our most top streamed songs. Our Spice One video is still one of our most seen videos. The Westside Boogie, the Jim Jones, these were all huge opportunities for us that brought us to eyes and ears that we never would have been in front of. So if you are going to set out to do this, if you have the budget and the means and the art that is necessary for it, pick who you want. Maybe pick a couple so you can be prepared in case some are outside of your price range, but be kind, be respectful, because you don't know if next year you're going to have the money and the want to do it with them again. And if you handled this experience poorly, that's just not going to happen. So make sure you are calm, professional, and prepared. Those are our biggest pieces of advice, and it is not difficult. You can work with whoever you can imagine, just as long as you approach it well. And it is who you know, and it does depend on how big they are. Obviously, you can't just message 50 Cent calmly and nicely and get the feature. But anyone that is on a level that you could probably pay for as an independent artist will respond to you and will be kind and courteous most of the time.